Do that is just to talk a little bit about my journey in my walk with faith, and how I came to be where I am today. And I think there's no question in my mind I'm here because of that walk. So let me just share with you that the best way I always get started is really I have to get started. My walk started with meeting my wife and marrying my wife. I'd had a walk which had been lots of different paths. And I was very, very blessed to meet my wife, Karen, and we found each other at a time. Both of us were engaged in a lot of things. She was going to be a lawyer. She was in law school, and she was going to be a lawyer. And shortly after we met, I decided I was going to run for Congress. And so we were both very driven, very career-oriented, and we were going to do great and big things individually and together. We were excited. Karen graduated from law school in the spring of 1990. I won my first primary election. I'd never run for office before or gotten involved in elected politics as a candidate before. And so I won my primary. A week later, she graduated from law school, and a week after that, we got married. So it was a pretty busy time. So we were engaged in a big campaign. Well, it wasn't that big. Actually, it was a very little campaign. I was running against someone who had been in for 14 years, not a good district for a Republican, and given no chance of win. And so I had no money, went out and just knocked on doors. We just knocked, and Karen and I knocked on. She had 2 t-shirt dressed with stencils on it that said Santorum for Congress. And so we just went out and as a team, went around and knocked on doors. And to tell a whole long story, but a miracle happened. It really was a miracle. We were outspent 3-1. We had no chance of winning the election. On election night, when we ended up winning the election, the Wall Street Journal called because the report came out that this person lost, but it didn't say who won. And so the Wall Street Journal called the Republican National Committee and said, "Well, who is your candidate?" He said, "We don't know." So that's how unlikely a win I was. I was completely out of the blue. It was in fact a miracle, but here I was. I got elected to the House. I was 32 years of age, and we went down to Washington D.C. and I was going to, take on the world. And it was an amazing blessing to me because when I won, again I had no big backers, no big supporters. It was just all folks who believed in me and believed in the principles that I espoused. And we were able to get down there and not worry about what I did. I knew I probably wouldn't be reelected because our state was going to lose 2 congressional seats, and I was already told I was going to be one of them. And so I was going to be in for 2 years and then gone to most estimates. So I just thought, well, what a freedom. I felt God had blessed me to be here in these 2 years, and I was just going to do whatever I felt was in the best interest of my country and what I was meant to sent to do. And so we went down there and, well, we got involved in a whole bunch of stuff and had just, shook things up. Well, they did put me in a horrible district with another congressman who had been in for 24 years. And I said, what the heck, I'll run anyway. It was a 71% Democrat. I ran and I won. And another sort of miracle election. So I just kept plowing away, and I thought, well, you know what, we're on a roll here. Let's run for the United States Senate. Why not? And there's another incumbent Democrat there, so I ran again. And during that life, that whole 4-year period of time was a blur to me. And I'm sure it was a blur to Karen. Well, it probably wasn't a blur. It was more of a red streak because I was just on the move. We were very blessed during that time. So I was home a little bit. We had 2 children during that 4-year period of time. We had our oldest, Elizabeth, who was born in April of 1991. Then we had our son, John, who you met. He was born right after the 1992 election in November of 1992. We decided at that point to run for the Senate. So I'm running for the Senate. I'm serving in the House. I'm involved in all sorts of legislation like welfare reform and a whole bunch of things. I was a maniac. Just running. Ambition, driven to achieve and accomplish.